A chilling encounter at Woodlock Pines Resort. Back in high school, I attended the Darren School District in Connecticut, which was a relatively affluent area. We often had the chance to go on cool field trips, especially as part of extracurricular activities. One of those trips was with the chorus class during my sophomore year. We went to Woodlock Pines Resort in Pennsylvania for a few days. The ride there was a few hours long, and I shared a room with my friend Landon. From the moment we arrived, the place seemed pretty quiet, which made sense. It was November, so it was chilly. We had a packed 3-day itinerary with 4 chaperones. However, they weren't strict, so we had a lot of freedom to choose what activities to do. The first day went smoothly. Landon, 2 girls we were friends with, and I tried out several activities like go-karting, rock climbing, swimming, and eating dinner together. Later that evening, we headed back to our room to relax. Our room was on the ground floor, and the sliding glass door at the back offered a clear view of the lake down the hill. The moonlight reflecting off the water was beautiful, so we decided to leave the blinds open when we went to bed. Around an hour later, while we were both tossing and turning in bed trying to get comfortable, Landon suddenly screamed. I froze, unsure if he was joking or if something was actually wrong. Then I turned to the sliding door and saw what had terrified him, a tall, skinny older woman with long, grayish hair standing just outside, pressing her hands against the glass to peer inside. Before we could do anything, she walked away. Landon and I bolted out the door to see where she'd gone, but there was no one on the path outside, on the lawn, or anywhere nearby. We both knew we had seen her, though. It wasn't a trick of the light or imagination. The next day, we told our 2 friends about the creepy encounter but didn't bring it up with the chaperones. That night, after another full day of activities, we returned to our room. This time, we locked the back door and closed the blinds. Landon fell asleep before I did, but I eventually drifted off too. Sometime during the night, I woke up suddenly. The room was silent, but something felt off. I whispered Landon's name to see if he was awake, but he didn't respond. When I turned to look at his bed, something was blocking my view. Standing there, towering over my bed, was the old woman. She took a step back and said in a calm voice, "Your back door was unlocked." Then, without any urgency, she turned and walked out. I was paralyzed with fear, my body trembling uncontrollably. When I finally snapped out of it, I shook Landon awake and told him what had happened. We made sure the door was locked this time, closed the blinds again, and stayed up for the rest of the night. It was already close to dawn anyway. At breakfast, we felt a little better, but when we returned to our building, we saw her again. This time, she was sitting upright on the bed in the neighboring room, her hands folded neatly in her lap, staring straight at the glass door, as if waiting for us. Panicked, we ran to the front desk and reported her to the staff. Initially, they seemed unsure of how to handle the situation, but eventually they agreed to check on her. When they entered her room, they found her sitting exactly as we had seen her, with an older man on the other bed. He seemed just as unsettling as she did, though the staff later told us the woman had some kind of mental illness. The man didn't seem entirely normal either. Despite our complaints, the staff refused to ask them to leave. Frustrated, we told our chaperone about everything. After a heated discussion between the chaperones and resort staff, it was decided to cut the trip short. Landon and I didn't mind, we were just glad to leave that place. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe.